Testing, testing, 1, 2, testing, testing. What is going on, guys? Samuel World from Samuel One World Productions here, back with another top 10 list for you all today. And today on my series of videos where I'm talking about my favorite movies from 1996 to 2022. Again, I've been having a blast doing this series for you guys, and we're already at the end of the 2000s. Honestly, I'm not just excited to talk about 2010s, honestly, and of course today we're going to talk about, I think, are the best movies of 2009. It's definitely an interesting year, and probably one of the only years on this I've done so far where I don't think any of these movies are, like, I would consider, like, on my all-time best films of all time. It doesn't mean there obviously aren't any amazing movies on this list, because there definitely are. Being that I don't know how to consider a true all-time classic, at least as a right film in this, but this will still make for a fun video to do, and there'll probably be some great movies that came out this year, so I still hope you'll enjoy this video nonetheless. Hope you'll enjoy my series so far, and I'd love to know your favorite movies from 2009 down below in the comment section. So, and of course, obviously, before we get to the actual top 10 list, let's get into the honorable mentions. Films that are still great, they just didn't quite make the list. And those honorable mentions are the Friday the 13th remake, Harry Potter Half-Blood Prince, Sherlock Holmes, Avatar, yes, I pronounced on your mentions. That being a good or bad, depending who you talk to. The Princess and the Frog, The Proposal, Moon, Up in the Air, A Christmas Carol, and lastly, The Hurt Locker. All great movies, just enough to make the list. So, let's get started on the list, shall we? Yeah, I know on the list, right? I definitely debated a little bit where I was going to be number 10, honestly. But yeah, I decided to pick a movie that's got a lot of controversy this year, and still even surprised that it ended up being on this list, honestly. I guess it might probably hold a little bit of nostalgia for, honestly, and that is The Blind Side. Yes, I still have The Blind Side in my actual best list, because it's so serious. This movie has got a lot of controversy lately, since the fabrications, the story, and everything, and certain aspects. Honestly, so it's hard to judge this movie nowadays because of that. But despite that, I still do think this is a great movie, honestly. I still think it is still a pretty impactful story, honestly, which is definitely started getting one of her best performances, and the guy that played the actual person, I forget his name, but he was great as well. And this is a film I did just think dynamic works. It's still a pretty emotional story, still has pretty heartbreaking moments. Yeah, it's fortunate that it kind of ends up being fabricated, honestly. I don't think it was really that truthful of it. I was being honest, I think it was built that early. I don't really remember the details, but as a movie, it was great. It hits the right emotions, it hits the right beats, has a pretty compelling narrative, and has some pretty surprising moments. And it's overall just a pretty interesting story. Especially the chemistry between the whole family. So, yeah, it was definitely the big one I wanted you to put on the list or whatever, but in the end, I decided to still put it on here. Now, kicking out at number 9, we have the 2009 reboot of Star Trek. Yes, I think it's probably the first time I mentioned talking about Star Trek on this channel, honestly. I don't think I've ever talked about Star Trek on this channel, but being honest. I think I consider myself more of a casual Star Trek fan. I don't think I've watched the shows or anything. I really was familiar with some of the movies. And one thing I did do when I was stuck in a hotel last year was pretty much like watch all the Star Trek movies for the first time. At least some I don't think I really ever seen in full. Honestly, I still have not seen any of the shows, honestly, and maybe I will get into those shows at some point down the road, but we'll see how that goes. But I've seen all the movies, honestly, and for me, this was actually one of the best in my opinion, honestly. I'm not sure whether that's a hot take or not. I don't know if this movie is worth both seeds, but again, depends on the Star Trek fans to talk to, but I still think it is a movie that really rejuvenated life into this franchise, and then actors they get to play some iconic characters that are pretty well, such as Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto, and who all do great jobs, but also giving their own spin on these characters. But you got some pretty nice nods to the Earth project, you got some pretty great action set pieces, some fantastic visual effects, and just a pretty touching story as well, with some nice surprises. Although it's kind of what you would want from a Star Trek movie, but it does it in its own different way. So I would put this on the best of the Star Trek movies, in my opinion. Like, probably top 5 or top 4. Again, I don't remember what my ranking was originally, but it's definitely high up on that ranking. So yeah. Oh, I got a hangover. Whoa, number 8 is the hangover. I was trying to the Tyler Cruz song Hangover. Man, remember that song? Remember Tyler Cruz's thing? That's the stuff right now, baby. The number 8 is the hangover. Again, pretty much another great classic already coming on, so that's very simple, but it works. It's one of the films we don't really like see. We've obviously seen movies like this before, but again, it's one of his writing, the writing, the sharp cleverness, the ridiculous scenarios, and of course, the actors all elevate the material. Honestly, the fact that we end up getting like 2 single actors is still pretty baffling if you really think about it. Like, what else did we tell? Like, really? But the original Hangover, still classic, and a very, very consistent already comedy that's very consistent with his last, but also has a lot of heart and emotion, and a really great ending as well, so, yeah, that's pretty much all I'd say. And I like, it definitely was, my top 7 was definitely a little bit hard to figure out, honestly, mostly because I know the films I was going to put on this list, but the placement of them, so, I'm not sure how popular some of these films are going to be, so, just got a heads up, but, yeah, coming number 7, we have District 9. Yes, District 9 is number 7. Yeah, I'm not sure how popular that film is going to be on. So again, I do love District 9 on, so I do love it. I mean, I haven't like gone back to very often, but when I do, I'm reminded how great the world building is, how fantastic Blomkamp's directing is. It's what became this kind of film that basically sent to be like an interesting director going forward. Though he's not the best track record, despite the recent great Turismo. But it's a really good story with a great narrative, complexity with this world building. Fantastic performances from his cast, great action set pieces, writing, visual effects. It's definitely a very engaging story. I don't know how often I end up rewatching this movie, but it's one of the films that when I do rewatch it, I always am surprised at the world building and the complexity and everything. And the score is great as well, honestly. Yeah, that's one reason I even raised one number 7. Yeah, I just enjoyed the other just a tad bit more. Like, that's really, I don't know, I think of honestly, because this not is still a great movie. It's still a fantastic movie. It's still on this list. And I'm not sure what people like to this movie is up on District 9, and that is 500 Days of Summer. Yes, I put this movie on the list. And this is also another romance movie I did watch for the first time when I did my romantic movie marathon I did back in 2017. I did mention that a little bit in my last video. Well, back in 2017, I did try to do like a romantic movie marathon where for February 1st to 14th, I reviewed like 14 different romance movies. So I kind of wish I could continue that series, to being honest, but I'm more just supposed to tell me my favorite romance movies from a certain decade or my certain type of romance movies. Like, I mean, I might do a few of those lists next year. We'll see how that goes. But I watched it for the first time, honestly, and I really enjoyed it. But it's one where I definitely appreciate the more I watch it. It's definitely a different romance movie. It's definitely interesting romance movie where it doesn't really have any like good or bad people, honestly, because let's face it, George Villeneuve's character here is kind of a dick, honestly, because clearly Zoe Janelle's character is just the one that doesn't want a relationship and everything. I know she does, but confusing and everything, like he kind of like forces and everything like that, so it's kind of complicated, but it makes for a very interesting, it makes for an interesting, compelling narrative, and also the non-linear structure also makes it compelling as well, as you never know what's going to happen. Despite the problems you have, like the Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zooey Deschanel have great chemistry with each other, which makes the romance still believable, and makes the emotions still very believable. And that expectation scene is definitely one of the best scenes in any romance movie, period. Honestly, and goes through like surprising different directions that you wouldn't expect. Again, it's romance movie that feels fresh. It's kind of rare to do a romance movie nowadays to make it feel fresh, and I think they succeed here. Anyways, now kicking out the top 5, we have Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Basterds. I mean, it's a freaking Quentin Tarantino movie. What's back in? And it's a freaking Quentin Tarantino movie. What else do you want me to say, honestly? It's also one of the movies that I've always loved, but I think also the more I've watched it, the more I appreciate it. Honestly, I started with the cast here, and everyone is fantastic here. Again, it's a very violent and very like out there and insane film, but it knows it and embraces it. And again, the action is brutal but awesome. The storytelling is engaging. All hell, honestly, like especially Christoph Waltz here, who is just, oh my god, steals every scene that he's in. The writing is great, the action is great, the humor is just top notch and insane. Like, it's one of those batshit crazy movies that I just can't help but love beloved every time you watch it. Again, I've always loved this movie, but it's always been like near the bottom of my Tarantino ranking. I don't know where I put it now, honestly. I really looked at my ranking in a bit, but it definitely will be a few spots higher, honestly. And now at number 4, we have Zombieland. Zombieland. Well, yeah, I knew Zombieland was going to be on this list. I wasn't sure how high or low it was going to be, but yeah, I still love the original Zombieland. It's honestly one of my favorite horror comedies of all time. I loved it the first time I watched it, and I still do, honestly. Again, it's a quintessential great horror comedy, honestly. Again, got great cast with, Jesse Eisenberg and Emma Stone, having great chemistry, and Abigail Breslin, and Woody Harrelson. Like, we got a great cast here, and they all deliver. They all have great chemistry. As from that doesn't really take stuff too seriously and embraces all that. You got that Bill Murray cameo scene. Classic, one of the most funny scenes in any movie period, but especially it's hilarious one about Garfield. But yeah, the film is just consistently hilarious from beginning to end. But again, like most comedies, it is afraid to have a lot of heart to it, have a lot of emotion, and having characters that you do generally care about. They all have their own flaws and interesting, great attributes. They all have great back and forth with each other, especially with Woody Harrelson, like, who steals the show easily in this movie. Even the zombie action again is fantastic, and the zombie effects are great as well. It's just a true, quintessential, amazing zombie comedy, and it delivers on all fronts. Now, like I mentioned, for my top 7 was definitely a debate on one, but my top 3 especially were definitely a debate, honestly. Like, there's some debate that my number 3 should have been number 1, or even my number 2 should have been number 1, so it was definitely a debate, honestly. They're kind of neck and neck, if I'm being honest, so that's being heard, because my number 3 favorite movie of 2009 is Up. Yes. Again, not based on we did make this list, but I've always loved Up, honestly, but it's definitely been one that's always been high up in my Pixar ranking. I still think it's still one of the amazing Pixar movies, honestly. It's that one movie I think like peaks at the ending and just falls apart later on. I think the movie is just consistently great from beginning to end, honestly. It has a pretty emotional story, has a great villain, has, of course, the most emotional opening minutes in any movie, period. Like, all of those opening sequences are definitely some of the most emotion you'll ever feel, period, in any Pixar movie, and that's saying something. Carl and Russell are very compelling characters who go through great arcs throughout the movie, and Doug is hilarious throughout. It's a very charming, hilarious movie. See, but I really don't know why this film's never been like one of my a true top tier Pixar movie, honestly. It's like, obviously I still think it's amazing, and it's freaking number 3 on this list, honestly, and I still do love it. I still do love coming back to it, honestly. But again, I just don't know why I never considered it to be like a true top tier, like high echelon of Pixar, honestly, like a lot of people do. I really don't, honestly. It's a weird thing. Like, I kind of feel the same way I feel with a couple movies I get to my point 10s videos, where it's like, I do love them, but it's like, I never considered them to be like true top tier films. I don't know why. I bet we all have those movies down to which you consider to be top tier like everyone else, even though we still actually love them. And I really don't know what it is, honestly, because maybe in some ways Up should have been number 1, honestly, to being honest, but number 3 is still a good spot, though, and it's still an amazing movie. And now we get to my number 2, and this was from I actually did rewatch it very recently, actually, as I did rewatch this director's films, honestly, and that is Fantastic Mr. Fox. And again, as I mentioned, also a video a while back, but earlier this year I did rewatch all of Wes Anderson's movies, because it's been years since I've seen all those movies, and man, I forgot how amazing a director he is. Like, sure, his films aren't for everybody, honestly, but his style does work in a lot of his movies. It's very dry and interesting, and the style, like, again, it's not going for everybody, but it always does for me, honestly. I don't think any of his movies are bad, honestly. I mean, like, the worst movie, which I think is his most recent movie, Asteroid City, is pretty much still to be great. So that is saying something. Like, he's easily climbed on my favorite directors list, honestly, and truly, I think Fantastic Mr. Fox might be his best. Like, I'm debating with this and one other movie, honestly, but this definitely is up there as best. It has the best of his style, the best of his humor, the best of his complexity and characters. He's got incredible and phenomenal stop motion animation that just delivers on all fronts. Yeah, the characters are very complex. They're not sure whether you should like them or not. You also got fantastic performances from the cast. I mean, George Clooney, Meryl Streep, Jason Schwartzman, Bill Murray, Will Ferrell, and listen, fantastic cast. It's just a film that just keeps going and just keeps surprising you what's going to happen, and you never know what's going to happen, honestly. It's just a very uniquely told and surprising movie, honestly. And it's definitely could be a bit between this and not being number one, honestly. Because they are incredible movies, honestly. And well, yeah, I can make argument between my other two movies being number one, and well, yes, this movie may seem a little more simplistic to the other two movies we talked about. This is just the way I thought of being number one while compiling this list. And that, my friends, is I Love You, Man. I Love You, Man. So for those who don't know, this is a romantic comedy starring Paul Rudd and Jason Segel. This is also another movie I did review and discuss when I did my romantic movie marathon I talked about earlier. And basically this also got named Peter, played by Paul Rudd, who basically is very friendless and doesn't have any male friends and doesn't have someone to be his best man to celebrate him getting married. And he basically ends up finding this guy named Sidney, played by Jason Segel, and they become great friends, has to be best man, and again, it's very simple. It's kind of, yeah, like I said, it's more simplistic than previous movies, but that kind of what elevates it a little bit. It's like sometimes it's okay to have a very simple movie. And again, it's not one of those movies that is definitely elevated by the screenplay and by the cast. Again, Paul Rudd is one of those likable actors working today. He can make any bad movie still watchable with his likability and charm. And Jason Segel, aside from how much I think is one of the most underappreciated actors. Like, these are two actors that in any commentary, whether it's good or bad, they usually elevate it. And them together, I mean, there's probably the bunch of things that I know they were also in Knocked Up and Sarah Marshall, but this is easily the best work together, honestly. You also got a good cast with Shea Jones, who doesn't play the typical like naggy like wife character. She has her own complexities. You also got Andy Samberg, J.K. Simmons, Jon Favreau, Jimmy Presley. You got a great cast here, and they all have great and fantastic moments. The comedy is elevated greatly, very consistent, and well, it does kind of follow the moments that you would expect this type of film to do. And again, the fact that this movie focuses on a romance makes it a little more interesting and a little more unique. Honestly, because I don't think these type of films are really a lot. These type of films weren't really, out there nowadays. Like a film, a romantic comedy about two bros. Like that's not something we never get very often these days. And again, the film has a lot of heart. Again, the chemistry between Paul Rudd and Jason Segel is fantastic. The chemistry with everybody is great as well. Just can't help but smile and feel good about this movie after you watch it. It's like it's one of those just like feel good comfort movies. I think that alone is why I put this movie at number one, honestly. And honestly, if you're not checked out Love Man, I would definitely recommend it. Even someone that's kind of sick of this kind of genre, I can't see anyone like that at least having a big grin on their face while watching it. Oh, well guys, I hope you enjoyed me talking about my top 10 best movies of 2009. Let me know down below in the comment section what are your favorite movies of this year. I would definitely let me know down below. And that's it on the actual 2000s. And after I do finish all these videos, I do plan on making a list where I talk about actually my favorite movies from the 2000s. I was planning to do one on 1996 to 1999. Also planning to do one in actual 2010s, and also 2020, 2023 after 2023 is over. So stay tuned. But those are coming very soon as well. Honestly, I still probably do these actual lists, but I think that they're going to be a little more like in between, honestly, or just kind of every now and then, honestly. That's way the opposite. I don't feel burned out by filming videos, honestly, so I don't feel stressed out about it. So hope you all enjoy that. Thank you so much for watching, honestly, and I do have more scene content coming way very soon as well. Again, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. I am Sam One World from Sam One Productions. I will see you next time, as always. Stay cool about it. Peace.